Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the Extreme Hardware Podcast. We've got our regular full house today, starting off with Mr. Axfer.
Hello, hello.
We've got Chris.
It's Femboy Friday.
No, it's not.
Yes,
we've
it
also
is.
got Jack.
Big Sir.
And we've got
that really is stimming. Yeah, Alex is here.
Alex is dead apparently.
Yeah.
All right. So
you
didn't say we've got Alex. You were just and.
Oh, no, that was Discord cutting off on you. So anyway.
Yeah, you don't get to introduce yourself now. Your internet sucks, dude. Sorry.
All right. So going right into this, this first article isn't even really an article. We talked about this a couple months ago, but I was just prompted to uninstall Flash on I think, Saturday. Yeah, it took me this long for some reason, and I thought it was funny because it's officially EOL on the 31st. That is Adobe's official stance on it, but I guess they're just nuking it while they early because they know nobody is going to be uninstalling it on the date.
Simmons, I've been getting these notifications since like January of this year.
Yeah, I only just got my first one a couple weeks ago, so it works fine on my system.
Yep.
Is that the whole article, Simmons?
That was it. Basically, I got home from a 12-hour drive from my parents' place, and this was the first thing that popped up on my computer. I was like, haha, that's funny.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering because I didn't uninstall it when I was prompted, but it also doesn't matter because new computer soon TM. I don't know. I'm just, is there really any point like holding on to it even to get like hacks to work around? Because I'm sure there's going to be like archives of this. People have been doing a much better job than me.
Well, what I honestly expect to happen is, do you guys remember when a lot of those old those old Flash games that
Flashpoint
died,
I think.
Yeah, they died just due to websites dying and Flash support
Miniclips.com.
That specific.
Predicting games.
And then
they're still around. Like,
no, Chris, let me finish.
Yeah, okay.
There was just a community of people who basically just downloaded all of these games from, I think, like archive.org and a few other sites. And they just built their own Flash engine to be hosted on their own standalone site. And then if you were to download all the games, it would just have the software required to emulate the games locally rather than relying on a server.
I think it's just like Flash, but in a container.
And
it's neat. But actually, I was going through that and I realized that around the time that like Flash games were on their way out and like phone games were becoming the hot new thing, that was also around the time that we started seeing microtransactions, because there are several games that I remember playing, and I was smart and never spent money on them because why would I? That had like premium features or whatever that you could spend real life human money on, and they just don't work anymore. They never made like a workaround for them. No, I'm thinking there are a couple of tower defense games, Bloons Tower Defense 4 and Warzone Tower Defense. Both of them had like premium upgrades that you could get. And you just can't get them anymore because the servers are down. And you can, I'm almost certain that you can hack the game and just like enable a flag, but that wasn't, done here. I don't know. It's kind of sad. And like, really a lot of those games are not worth playing. Because like I downloaded it and I screwed around with a few of them for a bit, but I've got no real desire to go back.
I will say the one Java game that I still will regularly go back to just because
It's Minecraft.
No, it's Pocket Tanks.
You don't play Minecraft?
Well, Minecraft doesn't count because everybody plays Minecraft these days, Chris.
Whoa, look at Mr. Simmons over here.
Every 5-year-old is basically playing Minecraft at this point. So
yeah, see, Simmons, this is where you're wrong because a 5-year-old is playing Java Minecraft.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I haven't played Minecraft since like 2011. You
That's
are
not true.
completely lying.
That is a blatant lie.
This is a plug for the
pull up the Extreme Hardware Minecraft server
the
logs.
Extreme Hardware Minecraft server.
Yeah, extreme hardware. Oh God, we do a tech podcast, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah. No, Pocket Tanks is just like one of those old Java games from like 2007.
Oh,
And
Pocket Tanks, I love that.
that was back in the day and age when high school computers were not really restricted to plugging in a USB drive. So me and a bunch of buddies would just have Pocket Tanks on their USB drive. We would plug it in and just play it instead of doing actual classwork.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
That was my school. They blocked Flash content in Internet Explorer and blocked installing browsers, but you could still embed a Flash file inside of an Excel document and then
Dude.
play it that way.
You could do Flash in Excel?
It just uses the IE rendering engine, but internally that Microsoft has, not the Internet Explorer EXE. So it bypasses all the content restrictions and you can just play Flash stuff inside of Excel documents or
God,
PowerPoints.
that's right. Yeah, there's like a disturbing amount of Windows that is just Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the sentence that I said. It makes sense. I like saying sentences that sound completely deranged but are 100% accurate. For example, the DeLorean is a sports car that is only famous because Steven Spielberg was scared that kids would get stuck in refrigerators.
That is actually a fact.
That is a fact, but without more information, it just sounds completely deranged.
I like that.
Anyway, sorry.
Okay, so moving on to our very first real article. So this one was one that came up like not even like 3 days ago, but apparently, are you guys familiar with the TechTuber Hardware Unboxed?
Thankfully, no.
Okay, next article.
No.
Yeah, let's let Jack have his shitty takes here and get everybody pissed off at us.
No. So basically, he's just another TechTuber. But apparently, after several of the 3000 series Nvidia GPU reviews that he did, he got an email from Nvidia saying that he was banned from getting review samples from Nvidia because, and we quote.
You quote.
He quotes, or quote from a Hardware Unbox. The reasoning is we are focusing on rasterization instead of ray tracing.
Yeah. Basically, the only thing that Nvidia did wrong here was tell them why they were cutting the supply of review samples, because ultimately this is enthusiast press. I went on the Adored TV website because I'm a masochist, and somebody wrote a quote analysis unquote of Nvidia's email to these guys.
How do you analyze an email like that?
Because you're a dork who needs to get stuffed in a locker. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, he quote unquote analyzed the email, and he said in his response to Nvidia that Nvidia should be nicer to reviewers because reviewers get their products in front of consumers. And what that defense of Hardware Unboxed is saying is actually justification for Nvidia to blacklist them and yoink any and all contact from them. Because if Hardware Unboxed's job, if this is like a quid pro quo, and the what Nvidia is getting out of it is free publicity, then Nvidia should absolutely be yoinking review samples and giving it to somebody who's going to be more positive and more willing to show off their features. Because defending this by saying that, oh, the reviewers act as unpaid tech press, or not tech press, as unpaid marketing, is like, it's such a bad defense, because companies do think that tech press and enthusiast press in general is unpaid marketing, and they will take advantage of it that way, and they will absolutely treat you that way. And it's just this hostile relationship. Like, Nvidia made the smart choice to cut off contact. I realized that, you know.
So there was a couple of things that ended up happening because of this tweet that went out from Hardware Unboxed. Basically, this was covered on Linus Tech Tips WAN show. Linus got really angry. as he does, which
Andrew.
Yeah, he's pronouncing the G in angry a stupid way because
you spell Andrew with an E.
Simmons, I'm the victim of your war crime.
Yeah. Yeah, you can claim that.
Yeah, Simmons has done real ones of those.
No.
Yeah. Simmons, let me fly the drones.
No. But basically, because LTT made their analysis, and there was several good points.
It's not an analysis.
Well, no, it was opinion, but sure. But one of the primary points was, first of all, Hardware Unbox, they separate their reviews or their specific reviews in two separate videos. So they did an entire video on rasterization. They had an entire video on ray tracing and so on and so forth. So the big takeaway here was Nvidia got salty because this one video highlighted rasterization only. Okay, whatever, who cares? But Nvidia, after getting a lot of flack from a lot of the big tech tubers, and more specifically Linus Tech Tips, they said, we apologize and we are going to send you review samples in the future.
Yeah, here's the deal though. Nvidia didn't get rid of any like pre-release access to press stuff, including like pre-release drivers, and said, by the way, go to the AIB partners to get cards. Like this is purely Nvidia Founders Editions cards, which, as actually pointed out, is a big disadvantage because Nvidia only releases the Founders Editions cards first, because of course they've trademarked an alternative name for the friggin' reference cards. Like, God damn it!
I still will continue to call them reference cards, no matter what.
I mean, they are.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I stand by what I said, which is that companies and enthusiast press are in a hostile relationship, and if you think that, oh, Nvidia shouldn't cut contact with them because of principles, they don't really have principles. Like, it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. It wants your money, and they have absolutely no reason to continue to send free products to a review outlet that is more negative to them than the others. Like, happens all the time in games media. Happens all the time in, like, God, I'm trying to think. Is there another good example?
Not really, but no.
I would assume that this kind of thing happens with like cars as well, with that kind of press coverage. But even then, like, there's a bit more of a history there, and there's probably some more like gentleman's agreement. But like, enthusiast press is just like that, and you have to keep that in the back of your head at all times.
So here's the I think the big takeaway from this is because the difference, or what's going on here specifically, is Nvidia supplying a review sample to a YouTuber or other outlet to be able to generate a advertisement, essentially, correct? And what will end up happening is, if Hardware Unbox was actually cut off from this, then the only thing that would happen is, okay, now rather than getting the $300, $700, $1,500 GPU, they pay for it themselves, and then then that's just a cut out of their revenue. Oh well, they're still going to do the review, and knowing them, they have relationships with a lot of other.
Keep in mind
review samples.
Keep in mind, pre-release samples are part of the issue, especially if like AIB partner cards are embargoed until after the initial release. Like, no, it's.
I feel like this is just a marketing mess more than anything else.
Oh yeah, no, like again, like I said at the start, Nvidia's only real screw up was saying their motives, because all they had to do was just ghost them or say something like, "Oh, we're sorry, we don't have any samples available at this time."
No, because if they would have just ghosted them, that would have been an equally weird uproar.
It would be weird, but it wouldn't be like explicitly whatever hostile this is.
Right. I mean, let's face it. The enthusiast community currently is driven by YouTube reviews, and if their favorite tech tuber does not have a review for whatever reason, then either it's on the reviewer to say that it was their fault, or it's on the reviewer to justify that it was Nvidia or AMD's fault in this GPU context. So
yeah,
it's really just marketing and community crap at this point. I'm going to be blatantly honest. The general enthusiast community is not the enthusiast community. It's people who think that they're enthusiasts, and then they get free the moment.
That's what it was. So part of the reason, like a big part of my stance on why I don't want to say I'm apathetic to it. It's more just like really jaded about it. Part of my reason for this is because I just don't really think that tech tubers on the whole do like worthwhile content. It's just like it's the same stuff from every single review.
Okay. And that's why I get a little bit concerned because the two tech tubers that I would say do, or three I would say that put out good content, are Gamers Nexus, but they turn off a lot of new viewers because Gamers Nexus is extremely monotone in all their videos, and people just zone out and can't pay attention.
Yeah, just give me the articles.
Bauer, because he has a lot of access to CPUs, GPUs, and whatever else, and then he just basically bombs them with liquid nitrogen and hopes for the best.
That's not a review, though. I'm referring specifically to like
he does do reviews, but his perspective is a little bit more unique, and that's why
that makes it interesting content. As Buildzoid. Again, Buildzoid doesn't really do reviews like that. Like the stuff that he does isn't. No, I'm just talking about like the basically my engagement with most of the new like GPU releases lately has just been popping open Tech Power Up, going to the performance summary, and just like skimming through that, because what's the point? Like there's no reason to watch a 20-minute review going over all of these graphs and whatnot. Like, what's the point? And there's so many more things that you can do. Like even as a consumer, it's hard to find people who do stuff like NVINC. Benchmarks.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say that is like EPOS Vox, for example. I'll watch his videos on streaming performance with the new stuff because that actually matters, and it's hard to summarize in just an article without seeing the videos.
And since gamers like to talk about how much they need like all of these cores to play their video games these days, to stream their video games these days, well, you would think that hardware encoding engines in your graphics card would be helpful.
Yeah, no, like Nvidia NVINC is a godsend, at least for me playing or who streams VR regularly. Like, I'm not even going to deny that.
Yeah, when you stream Assetto Corsa all the time.
I have not streamed Assetto Corsa because I haven't figured out how to set it up yet, and I don't have enough brain cells to figure it out.
I told you how to set it up. You just ignored me, Simmons. It's very rude of you.
I had a lot of alcohol in my system, so
I ignored him.
That's not an excuse. I had a lot of alcohol in my system, and I beat you in a van when you were sober.
Yeah, but okay. I want to move on. We can save this rant for extras. So I'm going to move on to the next article, unless anybody has anything else to say about this. So in our next article, this was linked to us by Axie here. Alleged Intel Sapphire Rapids Xeon processor image leaks. Dual die madness showcased. That is a lot of clickbait terms in this headline, and there's only 2 paragraphs worth of information.
The worst part is they didn't even use the word glue in the headline, which if it's already clickbait, you may as well just throw the word glue in there anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to yell at you for saying glue until you said clickbait. Okay, that's understandable.
Okay, so the only actual information here is there's a picture of a Cascade Lake SP CPU, 56 cores, 112 threads, LGA 4677 socket, and support for PCI Express 5.0 allegedly.
Okay, this article raises a lot of questions. Tech Power Up's like news coverage is not amazing. It's one of those articles that like takes a forum post or like a Reddit comment or something and writes 10 times as many words as the length of the post. Yeah, somebody took a picture, or somebody's buddy took a picture of one of these somewhere. I don't remember what the context was. Posted it to Serve the Homes forum. It was like, "Howdy, it's Sapphire Rapids, LGA 4677." Got a bunch of comments saying like, "Hey, there's probably some identifying information in there. You might want to remove that." But little late for that now. So let's see what we can glean from this. This says QTQ2.
Yep.
Does that mean it's QS or ES? 2.0 gigahertz. That's probably ES, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, because this CPU looks like it's going to be the Intel response to the EPYC CPUs, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's their successor to Skylake.
Let's be honest here, because the thing that this CPU is going to do is basically what the low power CPUs in my old Dell server did, which was low power, high core, high thread system.
Okay, dude, Simmons, shut up. It's 2 gigahertz because the damn thing isn't finished yet.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree, because I feel like on the
Have you seen the clock rates on ES chips? Like, shut up. We know nothing about the SKU here. Let me finish.
I want to speculate and make people angry, and I'm doing a good job.
So what appears to be a dual die design, I like how it goes from definitely dual die in the title to what appears to be dual die. I'm not actually sure what the word on Sapphire Rapids and like the use of a multi-chip module is, but there is nothing about this that suggests it might be dual die. Oh, wait, actually, hang on. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, if you look at the IHS, there's like 2 distinct rectangular imprints on it, so disregard that. So yeah, that could indeed be dual die. I'm trying to think, Jack. What Cooper Lake? Cooper Lake wasn't using this socket, was it? It was using something else.
I don't know.
I really haven't been keeping up with Intel's server stuff, just because I couldn't hear what you said.
I'm fairly certain it wasn't this socket.
Yeah, it was like 4196 or no, 4189. I think that was it. Similar size socket anyway. DDR5, PCIe 5, CXL 1.1. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, multi-chip module, but allegedly 56 core isn't really promising, because that means 28 cores per die, and we like already have that.
Oh, actually, just yesterday, I didn't even see this article, but I was just looking through the comments of this article, and of course, there's a typical, only need 8 more cores, and you can finally compete with EPYC.
I know how to count. Good job,
but
idiot.
there happens to be, I know it's WCCF, but hey, they get things right sometimes.
Oh, Milan.
3rd gen
128
EPYC.
core Milan server shatters all hope Intel had for Ice Lake. Shut the up.
I agree with you, Chris.
4 gigahertz boost, though.
Wait, isn't Milan supposed to be Zen 3?
Yeah.
Because unless they did like a process shrink that allows them to double the number of chiplets, it's only going to be 64 core. Also, based on like power numbers there, like this is just going to be the same chiplets, or maybe an updated stepping or something of what we've seen already. Like there's no, go away, stop it. Although speaking of EPYC, so something that I was thinking about the other day. So the reason that Threadripper and EPYC had the core counts that they did was because of the CCX design. AMD would only disable cores within a CCX if all CCXs had that many cores disabled. The only exception were certain quad-core CPUs where they would do a 4+0 configuration instead of a 2+2 configuration. But with that exception aside, which turning off the CCX entirely doesn't count, let's be honest. That exception aside, they disable an equal number of cores. So for EPYC, that means you can have 16, 32, 48, or 64 cores with all of the chips populated. Some EPYC CPUs and also Threadripper will take out half of the chiplets, so they can get 8, 16, 24, or 32 cores, and then you've got the 2 chiplet versions and the 1 chiplet version. There you go. So now that Zen 3 is doing 8 cores per CCX, that gives AMD more granularity. That introduces a 40 core and a 56 core option for Big Boy EPYC. And it also gives them a 20 core and 28 core option for smaller EPYC. And I wonder if they're going to take advantage of that or not.
I assume that they would.
They also have the option to do a 10 core or a 14 core part for AM4, should they so desire, just like a 5920X or something.
So I would definitely assume that they would take advantage of the smaller core count EPYC CPUs because, I mean, with the smaller core count densities, you can achieve typically higher frequencies, which when you're going into the server space, I could see like the Nvidia cloud solution or those remote. You are running a game streamed to your computer that is being hosted on a server in a VM kind of solution, taking full advantage of a fast EPYC CPU.
Now that's where I could see the clock speed coming in handy. That and like virtualized like cloud-based VMs, because you're dealing with a few threads per user.
Correct.
But if you just want something for like a big server in your data center that like you are using the entirety of, I don't think there's really going to be that much of a difference, because like 48 cores at 2 gigahertz versus 64 cores at like 1.5 gigahertz. It's pretty much the same if the workload is parallel enough.
I was going to say, because the biggest issue is that the server space use case is so weird with how a lot of the applications that are hosted require various resources to be used. Obviously, like game hosters will want higher clock speed CPUs, but then I just from my experience in smaller data centers, you need a faster CPU just to host this legacy software with reasonable capacity for 100 times more users than the software was originally engineered for. So, I 100% expect that to be a thing. And I want it to be a thing so in 5 years I can purchase one of those CPUs for my own server.
Wait, what? Hang on. Axie, what did you just... Okay, hang on. Where did 128 cores come from? Because I know I just saw 128 cores on this article.
Which one?
On the WCCF article. I'm trying to find, because somebody said 128.
How does it rate the title? 128 core Milan server. But I'm not sure if they meant 128 threads.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's something else. That's also something else. God damn it! Oh, here it is.
Yeah, it's probably a typo in the title. Because even the table below lists just 100 or 64/128.
Okay, let's do Control F for 128 because I know I just saw that. Cache threads. What? Oh my god, they mean 2P. 128 core server. Shut up. If we're talking about number of cores in a server, 8-socket Xeon Platinum has 224.
Yeah.
Like, shut up. That's meaningless. That's
or what if we want to go back to Opteron 8P? Oh boy.
I mean, let's be honest.
Imagine an EPYC 8P. That would be insane.
We already had EPYC 8P. It was called Naples. AMD went from 8 NUMA nodes and 8 sockets with socket F to 8 NUMA nodes and 4 sockets with G for 34 to 8 NUMA nodes and 2 sockets with Naples.
Chris, imagine having 8 sockets and 16P.
Haha, 16P is stored in the 16 balls.
All right, I'm going to move on to
Chris,
this.
you've had enough podcast juice.
Shut up, Dad. You can't tell me what to do.
I'm going to move on to this next article because I know how much we like getting Angery about Razer. So
stop pronouncing it that way.
Yeah, you're not going to make fetch happen.
Are we about to talk about the Razer article?
and Razer are allegedly collaborating on a Taichi Edition X570 and B550 motherboard. And since it's Razer, do you know what that means? You're going to be required to install Razer Synapse to use this thing. And the entire motherboard is decked out with a giant piece of plastic covering the entire lower half of the motherboard and way too many LEDs.
Yeah, LEDs. Why? What? By the way, why is Razer all RGB now? Because they used to be just green. They used to be just G.
Because chroma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. Like the moment that they came out with the K70 RGB and the K95 RGB back in, I think, like 2016 or 2017, that was the entire shift. Everybody was freaking out because, holy crap, you can have animated LED profiles on your motherboard. I say as I look at my Corsair motherboard that is currently animated LEDs. But
you're a dork.
Yeah, you don't like my keyboard.
Yeah, I really do. Your keycaps. What is wrong with your keycaps? Okay, here's the deal. Simmons, send a picture of your keyboard here so you can include it in the thumbnail. Like, this asshole just has mismatched keycaps all over his keyboard.
Okay.
There's like no rhyme or reason for it. It's not like, oh, it's just the function keys or, oh, it's just a cute little escape key. It's like the entire damn thing is like this. Justify yourself, Simmons.
Okay, so I'm going to post the image first, and then I'll justify myself. All I'm going to say about the motherboard real quick before we tangent any further. So one of the interesting things about it is they're advertising 16 phase, but knowing the X570 spec, it's not actually going to be 16 phase. It's going to be an 8 phase doubled VRM. So that's just bad marketing.
Whatever.
But I mean, aside from all the plastered on RGB, it actually looks like a really solid motherboard. The only issue I see is I expect this thing to cost or to retail for like $250 to $300.
Oh yeah, it's going to be way too expensive. Why did you post that in general?
Yeah,
Simmons, what is wrong with your keyboard?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
where can I get those caps so I can make Chris irrationally annoyed as well?
So they're translucent front print instead of top print keycaps. I purchased them off of Amazon a while ago.
No, Simmons, that's not the problem. You can have your dumb little translucent keycaps. The problem is, look at your 1, 2, 5, 6 WASD spacebar, and then you've got the goddamn Lenny face for tab.
So listen, and then look at the enter button as well, Chris.
Yeah, that's an okay emoticon. Lenny is.
But okay, so the spacebar, because the kit's translucent, didn't work too well with this one because the LED for the spacebar on this keyboard is only on the switch.
Weird how that works out.
So versus other LED keyboards that I've seen where it actually has full spacebar illumination, they just have that LED bound to the to whatever programming for the middle one is. So it's basically like 4 LEDs for one switch, essentially. So the spacebar, ignore that. The 1, 2, 5, 6 and the WAS, they are rubberized keycaps, and that is because I'm an idiot and I need to be able to find my switches quickly when I'm playing Tribes Ascend. And then the Lemmy face and enter button, that was because I thought it would be funny and I thought it would piss people off, and that's exactly why I did it. I actually
it worked.
I specifically got it to piss off my girlfriend, and it worked.
Yeah, I'm your girlfriend.
Not you.
Oh yeah, the other one.
You were an afterthought.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a thought.
The one who's actually going to get a ring.
Chris, what's your OnlyFans?
Not telling you on the podcast.
All right. So does anybody have any input about this motherboard specifically?
No.
Okay, moving on. QNAP launches the quad-core 8-bay TS-832PX NAS. So
Yes, I'm a bay.
Mm-hmm. So to be very clear here, this is a QNAP Systems product, and it is an 8-bay NAS chassis. Now, the thing I'm not sure about is, can you buy the chassis by itself, or does it come with all the internals that they're advertising here?
Oh, it's gonna come with the it's gonna come with a motherboard and built-in networking as well.
Okay.
But it shouldn't come with any drive bays.
So
let's see.
Let me read through the specs real quick while you're doing your let's see.
Let me highlight it and go to Google so I can look at QNAP's website instead of Tech Power Up.
Sure. So it's a quad-core 1.7 gigahertz processor, 4 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, expandable to 16 gigs, two 10 gig SFP plus ports, which I like, two 2.5 gig Ethernet ports, so RJ45, and what else?
Oh, baby!
It's also got a 2-slot PCI slot.
Yeah, two PCI Express Gen 2 by 2 slots.
Oh my god! Give me a moment.
So that would let you add in like a M.2 expansion card or something for cache or something else.
Yeah, here you go. So first of all, Tech Power Up kind of dropped the ball on telling you about what is inside this. So it features an Annapurna Labs, which is a subsidiary of like Amazon, Israeli microelectronics company, and since January 2015, a subsidiary of Amazon. It is a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core ARM processor. It features 4 Cortex A57 cores, which are not very good. Cortex A57 is old. Like, oh my god, this was what AMD put in their ARM Opterons back when that was a thing. Actually, isn't this in one of the Raspberry Pis? I'm pretty sure it's in the Pi 2 or 3. Give me a second. Specifications. Here we go. Features Cortex A53. Oh, that's slightly different. Isn't that just a variant of it? More powerful. Oh, okay. It's from the same era as the Cortex A53. Like, this is not a fast chip by any means. It's run-of-the-mill ARM crap. It's just got a lot of I/O to throw in there.
So but does it need to be fast?
I was going to say,
the problem is, if you want your NAS to do anything other than just dump files into a network port, you're not going to be able to do that.
So I actually do have a question for Axiom. So do you have experience with, what's it called? It's ZFS. Yeah.
A little bit.
So is ZFS CPU intensive? Because I know it's RAM intensive.
Not really CPU intensive in terms of like desktop CPUs. I'm not sure how it would perform on ARM. That's not something I've done.
An 8-year-old ARM core? Yeah.
No, because the reason why I'm asking, because because the software specs that they're advertising on this thing, it's QTS 4.4.2, aka embedded Linux. It supports Apple Mac OS, Ubuntu, IBM, and Microsoft Windows 7, 8, and 10, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to market it as, it almost seems like they're marketing it as this thing will come with an operating system out of the box, but put whatever the hell you want on it. And the immediate thing that I think of is FreeNAS, where it uses the ZFS redundancy protocol. And if it is CPU intensive, like single core CPU intensive, then that could be a potential issue in terms of like write-read performance.
Oh, hell, dude. Even if it's multi-core intensive, this thing's going to get outperformed by like a contemporary i3. This thing's probably going to get outperformed by like a Core 2 quad, maybe even a Core 2 duo.
So that being said, if ZFS is not CPU intensive, then I don't see any problem. Now, needless to say, I find this thing really fascinating because, quite frankly, I still need to buy a backup solution. I don't have one of those.
Just subscribe to Backblaze.
I mean, I could, but why would I?
I actually do want to do that at some point just to get it offsite. The
Hashtag
problem
not sponsored.
I mean, honestly, no. I've just like looked through their offerings, and
I mean, I just want to. I just need a remote or like a not on my desktop backup solution, because whenever I reinstall Windows, it's always a pain in the ass, and I would just like to be able to image from a backup, essentially.
Yeah, any kind of like dumb thing I'm working on, I usually just save to Dropbox. I'm using the free version of Dropbox and will never give them money because I am a
No, Chris, that's not even what I'm referring to, because my system's a 4-drive system and I have applications distributed across all 4 drives.
Oh my God, you're a masochist. All right.
Well, okay. So admittedly, the applications that are stored on the D and E drives are just Steam, so that doesn't really matter. But my F drive is all my multimedia stuff, so my music production and various other applications.
I need to get a P drive so I can fill it with balls.
Yes.
Balls is stored in the P drive.
Yeah, no. So aside from the CPU limitations, do you guys see any issues with this offering?
No, I think it's great as just here's a nice big bulk storage that you could put Plex on with just direct Plex. No transcoding, just direct serve. And you'd be able to handle a lot of clients if it's just a bunch of files, if you put some decent hard drives in there.
Hey, Axie, so here's a question. One of these like QNAP servers, which features, among other things, like QNAP software, which I assume some people like. So what if you had this for bulk storage and then you just use it as a network disk for a Plex server?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what I've done before too. Set up a small little like home theater PC running Plex or something, and it works fine. Yeah, I've tested Plex with like remote network shares hosting the media, and it handles it fine. I'm sure other transcoders like MB and all that would as well. I mean, you do get 10 gig SFP plus ports out of this thing, so it's gonna have no problem serving the files as long as you're not having to do anything too intensive on the QNAP itself, which is not built as an app server.
Just for dumping data into a Plex server or something along those lines. Let's see though. Okay, so dual 10 gig. I'm assuming that's going to be something like an Intel X550. No, probably an X540, isn't it? Because if that's only PCIe Gen 2, then it would kind of need Gen 2 to take advantage of it.
I'm not sure what it was. I mean, it could be also like a Mellanox as well.
Oh, yeah, that's a good... Yeah, right, there are alternatives. But regardless, just that kind of older Gen 2.
Yeah, like I'm running old Mellanox Connect X3 cards in my house because I got... You get them on eBay for $80 with a DAC cable.
That's interesting.
That's how I get myself 10 gig networking.
So I didn't know this, but QNAP apparently makes effectively this server in a 1U format. The TS432XU 2GUS. Same CPU, 2 gigs of RAM, but it's a SODIMM slot, so you can upgrade it. 4 drive bays, 210 gig, 2 gigabit, and an extra PCI Express line. I'm assuming, though, that this is mini ITX and it's like 2 PCI Express lanes wired to a by 4 slot or something. Hopefully open-ended, but I'm not sure what the guts look like. I can't see any internal pictures. But yeah, like, no, I do kind of like these little QNAP NASs. I just wish that they were a bit less underpowered because I would rather have everything on one system.
Yeah, I mean, we run a few of them for work, and we easily have over a dozen people accessing them at any given time throughout the day over a VPN, and none of them have ever failed on us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, they're a little pricier than building your own NAS or getting like a little Atom box or something, or like a NUC plus a 4-drive bay over USB 3.
Yeah.
They're all going to get you the same end result, but at least the QNAP, it's all in one box, and you kind of have their support behind it too, and their little mini OS.
Oh, it comes with one SODIMM slot. That's sure okay. It can take up to 16 gigs. I really wish it would show what kind of motherboard form factor it is. I have to assume that it's just mini ITX or like some kind of proprietary nonsense that is basically compatible. But I'm having trouble finding anything.
Yeah, it could be like a little 5x5 or 4x4.
No, because those don't have PCI Express, and I don't think they would break it out to a like Razer or something like that. Plus, if you look at the back I/O of this case, it looks like a fairly typical rear I/O panel, plus like dual slot. Oh, hang on, how is that plugged in? I mean, that just looks like standard ATX derived form factor. Regardless.
I don't think it's worth beating your head over. The QNAP units are definitely not aimed at like enthusiasts or DIYers. They're built for who wants just, here's a NAS that just works. And it's going to do exactly that. Give you storage on the network that's attached.
Yeah. So in other words, it's geared more towards just you buy the product and it works as advertised.
Yeah. You can maybe run like a couple little web pages or a couple little apps like that on it, or like maybe a Plex direct serving, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But anything more than that, you probably want to build your own or look at, more an Atom or a Celeron based.
Here's a question. So if it's got a PCI Express slot, I guess you'd need to get drivers for it because it's ARM, but you could probably slap a GPU in there. And
you could, but you are limited to PCI Express 2.0, 2X.
Big friggin' deal. We're pumping video files into it.
I mean, depending on how many streams you're transcoding, you would run into bandwidth limitations.
Honestly, I feel like you'd run into limitations of the encoder engine because that's a gigabyte per second. That's 8,000 megabits per second. Bidirectional. So,
all right, so I'm going to move on to our next topic. Jack, you added this one, and I'm excited to hear some hot takes. But the FTC, the United States Federal Trade Commission, sues Facebook for illegal monopolization. So, Jack, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, Facebook's bad. Just leave them. That's it.
Okay, so
all right, next up.
So no. I'm just gonna read a couple snippets from the article and contribute nothing. But the FTC has sued Facebook, alleging that the company is illegally maintaining its personal social networking monopoly through a years-long course of anti-competitive conduct. Specifically through the acquisitions of WhatsApp and Instagram, and I believe there was a third one in there. I agree. I have nothing else to contribute.
Yeah, those aren't even competitors to Facebook, though. Those are just completely different things.
They're going for horizontal integration or something. Who cares?
Yeah, I was gonna say because like if the FTC is like classifying social media just in general, then yes, it is correct. They are just scooping up a bunch of technically competitors. And going from there, even though the platforms are just completely different. Like WhatsApp is the weird one because it's just a messenger. That's it.
It's WhatsApp. I was going to say the same thing. It's weird because you have everything else like Telegram and Signal and WeChat that are competitors to that are perfectly blossoming fine.
Yep.
Now Messenger, but they have Messenger and WhatsApp, which they still support both. Which, I mean, I'm sure some people like that they still support both, but
and the thing that always strikes me odd about WhatsApp is because unfortunately my family's using it now. My parents travel internationally, and it was the easiest for them to get used to, so that's why we're using it. The thing with WhatsApp is when I remember before it was acquired by Facebook, like their big shtick was everything is encrypted and we don't log any messages, which I find absolutely bullshit because if you switch your phones and you back up all your messages to the cloud, you just get everything back.
Yeah, it's encrypted behind your username and password combination. It's still encrypted.
But
it's Facebook's encryption.
I will say though, the worst app, because I was trying to think what it was. GroupMe?
Nope.
So GroupMe is, if I remember correctly, the worst app. It lets you set up text message groups. And there were lots of times at college where people would just like include me in a GroupMe group. And it's just the worst. Like you just get these incessant amount of text messages on your phone if you don't have an account. And what's a really fun thing to do is just like send rude stuff until you get kicked from the group because fuck you for adding me to the group. Like social media in general is a bad thing, and society would probably be better off if like their data centers just got parity redacted in Minecraft. Funny moments 2020.
Yeah.
Like there's I don't know. It's awful. It's all awful. It just makes noise. I don't want the noise. I just want to curl up in a fetal position and like plug my ears and rock back and forth slowly.
So speaking of things that take little brain effort to comprehend, so Apple has officially moved forward.
With skipping the one about MasterCard.
Yeah, because it was lined out.
Yeah, so, the illegal.
Yeah. So Apple apparently is actually starting to implement their own modems versus the Qualcomm modems that they used to use in their iPhones.
Yeah, so Apple did acquire Intel's 5G smartphone modem business and tech last summer. So that would likely tie into how they're using that on potentially new custom chips, which, I mean, it's great that Apple's developing their own in-house stuff like the M1, the U1, the H1. Man, they have really good names for their chips.
So because my brain is smoothing over the more alcohol that I'm drinking, but the M1's the one in the Mac Mini, right?
Yeah, the new Mini and MacBook
Air, MacBook Pro.
What's the
AirPad Mac?
What's the other two? What are those other two chips? The H1 and the other one.
Oh, the H1 is their headphone chip that they use in like the AirPods, and the U1 is their handover chip that allows like flawless handover of wireless audio and stuff. You can have like sharing audio between devices and does a bunch of other communication stuff.
The M1's the only really relevant CPU here then.
Well, they're all custom chips, right? That before they were using other vendors for all these individual things, and now Apple's starting to develop all their own SoCs that do all these features instead of relying on others. So, I mean, they can arguably get it for cheaper if they're building it in-house, save a lot of licensing costs, and they're free to use whatever factories they want. And those factories may or may not have questionable conditions.
Yeah.
Which they're also still in hot water for.
So yeah,
there's being a big company.
So I don't think there's a whole lot to say here aside from they're actually using their own chips now. That's cool. Unless anybody has any other input here.
I think it'd be funny to see how what Apple does with it, since Intel is willing to sell it off, which kind of implies that Intel really saw no profit or no real benefit of keeping that business. So see if Apple's actually going to make use of it.
Intel doesn't really have a good history when they branch off from just x86 CPUs.
No, so I mean, hopefully it means that we can get some more 5G competition, which will arguably make all 5G phones maybe cheaper, but because it's going to be Apple-specific modems, probably not.
First of all, it's an Apple-specific modem, and they aren't going to share it. And second of all, no, it won't make things cheaper. It's going to be like patent wars, and it's going to get more expensive and worse for everybody because IP law is completely fucked.
Yep.
Actually, question: do the MacBooks currently support SIM cards?
I don't think they have any connectivity whatsoever.
So that could be a huge benefit then to the MacBook users, is that they could now see potentially LTE or 5G modems in their books, which I mean, Windows PCs technically PCs that aren't Apple have enjoyed for a long time that I make use of personally in my work laptop.
Well, yeah, but you're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, strictly speaking, yes, that could be a fun feature to add, but also what's the benefit? Because if Apple thought that were a feature worth adding, then they would have added it using a third-party chip ages ago.
Yeah, they sort of have. If you have an iPhone, you can just connect to it and use your phone's internet.
Does that constitute tethering? Like, do you have to use, does your phone report like, hello, this is being tethered, please use the far more expensive data to the cell tower? Or
so you guys still have that separate, right?
It's not really a problem for me because I live in a developed country and we have cheap phone internet.
Yeah, we don't have separate tethering plans.
I assure you, sir, our phone internet is just as cheap as yours, except for the end user.
So actually, all I can say about the tethering is, as far as I've been able to gather about it, is it's quite literally just software that's installed on your phone by the ISP that monitors which of your data is tethered Wi-Fi and which of it is actual phone usage, and that's the extent of it. It's not really separate protocols. It's just how your device monitors where the.
Oh yeah, no, like it's complete bullshit because it's the same data. Like if I think we get like unlimited data and 5 gigs a month of like tethered stuff, and it's like, why? It's the exact same data. It's the exact same towers. There is literally no reason to do this.
And I'm with T-Mobile, and it's like unlimited with 15 gig. So.
Yeah, I'm on T-Mobile too, and I hate T-Mobile because their coverage has somehow gotten worse. Their coverage is somehow worse than Sprint alone.
Well, okay, so Chris, the problem is that unless you have 5Gs, the coverage has gotten worse.
How? Why?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
They want you to upgrade to a 5G phone.
Wow, great. I'll upgrade to a 5G phone so I can get 3G speeds.
Yeah, basically.
Now, I will say that I've been observing 50 down, 50 up over 5G on my phone. So that might just be where I'm located.
I have experienced 5G as well. It's not very stable. I got it was nearly 300 megabit down once, and then 2 minutes later in the same location, it was like, I think 3.
So, but you're also in the same country that was burning down 5G towers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not in that area. No, technically it's a different country because that was Wales.
Wales isn't real. They're the ones with all the sheep. Anyway, hey, Simmons.
They haven't discovered airplanes
50
yet.
down, 50 up on 5G, Simmons?
I am, yes.
Hey, Simmons.
So I'm going to speed test right now, and just the built-in Google one on my 4G LTE Pixel 3, I'm getting 185 down.
Wow,
15 up.
the Google benchmark on the Google phone. I wonder why it's so fast.
Well, it's looked at the server in Washington, so that's a good for you Americans, about like 1,000 miles away from me.
Yeah. Okay, well,
Simmons.
What?
Here's a fun cyberpunk reference, which is very topical, a Grand Theft Computers reference.
Okay.
That's topical. White people love to be named Gonk.
All right, moving on. So I'm going to just touch on this article real quick, and we'll try to get through a couple of these before we wrap up. But
oh my God, Axie, you sent so much like Linuxy nonsense. What's wrong with you?
No. Wine 6 is actually interesting news.
No, it's not. It's Linux gaming. That's the worst kind of game.
It's not.
Okay, Axie, talk about Wine 6.
So Wine, for the uninitiated, is a way to run Windows programs and games and applications in Linux. And I think Mac for a while before they kind of stopped that one, but mostly in Linux. Yes, a lot of it's used for running games. That is the primary usage of Wine, to emulate older XP games or Windows 7. It can now do Windows 10 games pretty solidly too. But the best thing is you could run a lot of Windows software on it. So you could run, let's say, Photoshop or AutoCAD or other things that normally you wouldn't be able to run, or even Microsoft Office.
So 90% of Wine users are using it for games, but then you're in that niche that are trying to use Wine for actual like practical applications.
Yeah, like I have licensed Windows software that I just want to be able to run on my Linux machine without having to dual boot and switch OSs or run a VM, because a lot of software that gives you a hard time in Linux is also the same software that typically doesn't also like to run in a VM, unless you buy a licensed VM version of it, which is also just other silly nonsense. But yeah, Wine it's 6.0, so it's the next big major release. It's currently in release candidate mode. I think it's January. I think mid-January 2021 is when it's supposed to release. Some of the big improvements that it's going to have is it's going to have actual color space conversions, so like YUV to RGB built in, which will improve performance a lot. Better 2D acceleration, some 3D acceleration, just a lot of general fixes overall.
Yeah. So now, so the only question I have for you at this point, because your note that you said here, you haven't found any good solid list of improvements or features. You want to elaborate on what you're referring to there?
So most of the info I found on the Wine 6.0 release seems to be it's mostly bug fixes or just improvements to existing features. There's not much new that's coming in Wine 6 from what I initially read. It's just a lot of stability improvements and just improving what's already there.
Okay. Yeah, so
I mean, they've also like the Wine development in a way is it's kind of hit a point where it can do a lot of stuff because Windows has been nice enough, Microsoft is nice enough to not release a new Windows version in a while. So it gave Wine a good amount of chance to catch up since basically Windows 8.1.
See, you say that, but but like it took me up until like this, or not even this, like the end of last month to get the most recent Windows update, like main update. Was it like 20H2? I think is what it is.
Yeah, but for core app like compatibility, it basically stretches back to Windows 8.1.
Right. But like,
no, I heard you and I ignored you.
Oh, okay.
This is very similar to when you post random shit in my my stream chat and I ignore you.
I improve your stream, and also you don't ignore me. You read my comment for several seconds, and so does everybody watching it.
Everyone go Twitch Prime subscribe to Simmons.
Don't subscribe to Simmons. Don't give him your money.
I don't deserve money.
I'm going to regularly subscribe to Simmons.
No, you're a moderator.
I'll get a tier 3 sub.
Give your money to Nyanners.
Yeah, give your money to Nyanners instead.
Wait, did you not see my meme on that?
Yeah, I did.
I put a lot of effort into that for nothing.
Yeah. All right. So basically, I'm gonna reserve the remaining articles for extras because I really want to do an extras tonight. I actually want to take this remaining time to just to make a plug for a second because we brought up my stream.
So no, don't advertise your stream.
No, let him do it. I'll just cut it out. It's fine.
No, okay.
No. So Andrews is my only active moderator, and I really enjoy him participating in my streams.
Andrews cyberbullies me.
Yeah,
you never asked me to be your moderator.
Well, because you never show up.
Now I have a good reason to cyberbully you, Chris.
So Andrews likes to take advantage of Chris in my streams when Chris starts randomly shit posting in my streams, and Andrews times him out. Which, when you time out somebody on Twitch, it purges all their messages. So last night I configured an option that if you earn enough channel points in my stream, you can pay 2,500 Seminole points to time out Chris.
Is that actually an option you can do with Twitch points like natively?
Well, so all it is it's a redemption, and the prerequisite is that Andrews has to be online when I'm streaming.
Oh, okay.
It's just a notification for Andrews, essentially.
Ooh, Simmons. I wonder if you could have like, there's got to be, you got to be able to set up like a bot account, or this could even work with like your account, and like some API hook will do it automatically, so Andrew doesn't even need to be online.
Yeah, so where the inspiration for this came from, I was watching another Beat Saber streamer a couple nights ago, like shortly after I got back from my 12-hour drive. But he was in talks with a couple of his moderators just while he was streaming, and they want to set up a bot where the Twitch chat can vote to kick somebody or time out somebody for X amount of time. And I would love to implement something like that.
Yeah. Simmons got annoyed at me because he found a fun thing that he could install for Beat Saber that lets like Twitch chat fuck with him. So one of the options is you can change the note block colors. So you can change them to the same color if you want. And we did that a lot, and Simmons got annoyed.
No. The one that made me the most angry was when you swap the colors of the notes.
Oh yeah, that was also funny
because that just messed with my brain. And
yeah. For reference, the notes you have to hit with your left hand and the ones you have to hit with your right hand are different colors.
Yeah.
And you make both of them black.
You can flip the colors around. You can make them the same color. So Simmons got annoyed. He took off his headset. He went over to his computer. He typed in the command to disable it. He went back to playing the game, and just as a shot in the dark, I typed in the command to enable it, and it enabled itself again. So then I made his notes the same color for both hands, and he got really annoyed. I wasn't expecting that to work, to be clear.
Well, okay, so that was an oversight from the developer because in the mod it's just a DLL that you download, and the config file just installs itself based on the DLL. But then the config file has every single command set to everyone. Rather than the template that was provided on the GitHub. So
yeah, I feel like that could be fun if you like disabled the ability to do like some kinds of bullshit, like making the note blocks the same color, for instance.
No. See, I think that's funny. And
but
also,
actually, if you disabled that, I would just change them to like 000000 and 010101.
Well, see, that I was expecting somebody to do that, and the closest person that came to that was Alex, and he was angry at me because I wasn't playing Assetto Corsa. So he changed it to poop brown and slightly more pale poop brown.
Oh yes.
But yeah, so that's it for this episode of the Extreme Hardware Podcast. We will be doing an extras recording after this. It's going to be a crapshoot whether or not extras actually comes up. But thank you all for listening. And yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah. Frick's just dead, isn't he?
I hope. Yeah, well, Frick died. Let's be honest here.
Simmons, was that sentence going